Archangel Michael says, "This message was not meant for the world, it was carved in light just for you. You were not supposed to open this now, but divine timing has pulled your spirit here." In the sky, a great clash was about to unfold, winds rising, waves trembling, and storms roaring to take their toll. But just as the heavens stretched to release their fury, your whisper reached the throne of divine silence. The storm had a name, it carried a purpose, and its direction was fixed. You were unaware of the disaster coming from afar, its force moving through unseen shadows to arrive at your door. But then you dropped to your knees, not even knowing what you were protecting, and your prayer broke something in the air. The winds that had never obeyed man before paused as though they had heard the heartbeat of heaven. The clouds that were trembling in rage stopped their descent and hovered like quiet witnesses. Time shifted, energy changed, and the storm stood still. Your cry was not loud, but it was real. The vibration of your soul created a wall around you that no weapon could break. The rain waited. The thunder held its breath. Type Amen to get blessing 333. You did not see what was about to be swept away in silence, because your spirit was covered in the unseen. A building was about to fall, not one made of bricks, but of trust, health, and protection. But as you surrendered everything in prayer, God reversed a hidden collapse. Someone was already weeping for what they thought was lost. But because you reached upward, angels were commanded to descend. They arrived faster than light to cancel what was written in the dark. Heaven does not always roar when it moves. Sometimes it pauses. And this time, it did so because of you. You thought nothing changed, but something did. A signature was about to be written in pain, but it smudged itself out. Because you prayed, not perfectly, not loudly, but honestly. Type Amen to get blessing 392. The disaster did not vanish, it was redirected. A person meant to deliver grief turned back in confusion. They had all the reasons to bring sorrow to your house, but their heart froze mid-act. That was not luck. That was not coincidence. That was divine mercy activated by your spirit's soundless roar. Archangel Michael says, your name was placed inside a fire. But the fire refused to burn it because of your alignment. Every energy that came to strip you was met by a higher resistance you did not even see. The unseen world recorded your faith. You bent, but you didn't break. And so the breaking passed by. Type Amen to get blessing 418. It was not just the storm outside that paused. A storm inside you also began to calm. You didn't even realize you were healing, but the process had already begun the moment your soul reached for higher light. There was an attack on your peace through people who smiled at you but held poison plans. But your shield was not of this world. Your enemies were allowed to gather, but not to strike. Their plan was deep. It had started weeks before. But your one prayer, said in a whisper, destroyed months of plotting. That is what you carry, the authority of presence. When you speak, heaven does not listen, it obeys. Type Amen to get blessing 441. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Someone who thought you were alone is now shocked at how untouched you remain. They wanted you broken so they could offer fake support. But the storm was blocked, and now their plan to save you makes no sense. You are rising in silence. No applause, no announcement, but you are rising. Your shadow is thinning while your light thickens. The spiritual realm has taken note. You are not who you were a month ago. Something awakened inside you in your weakest hour. A voice you didn't know you had spoke from within you. And the world above responded with stillness. Everything froze, for you. Type Amen to get blessing 475. The next phase of your life begins with this message. Do not be confused by delays, they are protection in disguise. The doors that didn't open were not rejection, they were rerouting miracles. There are things meant for you that will not appear with noise. They will come when you least expect, and most deserve. Even now, angels are moving files, pushing back interference, making way. It is not visible to the eye, but destiny has shifted position. You were supposed to be at the edge, but now you are at the center. All because you prayed in silence when no one clapped for your effort. This is your reward for private endurance. Type Amen to get blessing 509. A woman far from you spoke your name with disbelief this week. She thought you would be drowning in ruin by now. But the light surrounding you is brighter than the doubt she carries. You're confusing those who expected your downfall. They check on you quietly, shocked that your glow hasn't dimmed. What they don't know is, you walk with forces that don't need to be seen. Your life is a prophecy unfolding. And you are only just entering the chapter where divine favor becomes public. This moment right here is a timestamp on your shift. Archangel Michael says, do not fear the silence you feel. It is not absence, it is alignment. The pause is the loudest signal that heaven is nearby. Type Amen to get blessing 527. In this quiet, power is forming. The chaos you feared was not a curse, it was a contraction. You are about to give birth to a version of you that fear cannot hold. Heaven has been watching not what you do in light, but how you survive in darkness. And your survival has been stunning. Every time you kept going when you were drained, the skies recorded it. The storm did not just stop. It saluted you. And now, things will begin to happen that make no earthly sense. Because the divine has begun to favor you openly. Type Amen to get blessing 544. There is someone trying to reconnect with you, sensing this new glow. They will pretend it's coincidence, but it's magnetism. Your energy is calling things that forgot your value. Do not go backward. Your future has already begun responding to your vibration. Anything from the past that didn't grow with you cannot hold you now. The storm was allowed so you would be transformed. You are not the same, you never will be. And that's what terrifies those who counted you out. The one who once ignored you now feels discomfort at your name. Type Amen to get blessing 571. You did not just survive, you made survival sacred. Your name is rising in places you haven't been. People you don't know are feeling a shift when your spirit enters the atmosphere. This is a spiritual phenomenon. You carry divine architecture. You are shaped by purpose, not popularity. That's why it didn't break you. It paused. It turned. It vanished. And you are still standing, whole. Type Amen to get blessing 600. The old season is gasping its final breath. It cannot walk with you into this higher level of reality. Everything that once broke you now looks at you in awe, for you outlived its destruction. The patterns are shifting. What used to confuse you will now become your wisdom. What once delayed you will now elevate you. Someone powerful is now watching you silently, sensing your rise. Their heart is stirred, and they don't understand why you're on their mind so heavily. But the divine knows, it's a setup for your favor. Type Amen to get blessing 618. The heavens never forget intercession. When you prayed without knowing what for, you activated angels. They formed a ring around you and stopped something tragic from entering. You feel tired not because you're weak, but because the war was won. You carry the fatigue of a quiet battle only heaven saw. That pain in your chest, that heaviness in your back, it wasn't your imagination. It was warfare. It was real. And you were victorious. Even when you doubted yourself, heaven didn't. They paused the storm. They chose you. Type Amen to get blessing 630. There's a new door opening in the realm of finances. Not just small money, but legacy. Something that seemed locked forever is now within reach. You are being introduced to the version of yourself that fear tried to bury. A voice, an authority, a knowing. It's emerging now, and it's not timid. People will call it sudden, but it's not. This has been building in the quiet spaces. The heavens were constructing your platform in silence while you cried in private. Now is the emergence. Now is your unveiling. Type Amen to get blessing 648. A dream you gave up on is about to tap you on the shoulder. You'll recognize it because your heart will skip and your spirit will say, yes. Don't second guess it this time. It was paused until the storm passed. It was reserved for when you were ready to handle it. And now, you are. You are no longer the person who begged for crumbs. You are the person who walks into rooms and shifts the atmosphere. Because you have been molded by thunder and light. Archangel Michael says, what tried to drown you now bows to your energy. The wave that was meant to take you under is now carrying you forward. Type Amen to get blessing 670. Watch how people treat you in this season. Some will try to act like nothing happened. But your spirit will feel the shift. You're not angry, you're aligned. You're not revengeful, you're risen. And because of that, their access to you will naturally expire. This is not isolation. This is consecration. You are being set apart. A new relationship is on the horizon, one that aligns with your elevation. Not another cycle of false hope, but real stability rooted in truth. Type Amen to get blessing 688. You won't have to explain yourself this time. You won't need to prove your value. You are walking into rooms where your energy will speak before your mouth does. Favor has found your name again. You lost so much, but none of it was in vain. Every tear had a destination, and now it's returning as blessings. That apology you never got will no longer matter. The closure you begged for is being replaced with new clarity. The people who ghosted you will watch your rise from a distance. And it will be graceful. Because your power doesn't need revenge, it builds empires. Type Amen to get blessing 709. There is a timeline ahead where your name is going to be honored. Not because you forced it, but because you endured. You stayed when others left. You kept showing up even when you had nothing left to give. Heaven rewards such things. They don't forget your obedience in the unseen. They remember your loyalty when no one clapped. Now the applause is coming, from above and below. People will call you anointed, chosen, different. But they won't know what it cost. You'll carry it all in silence, with grace. And still, rise. Type Amen to get blessing 726. Soon, you'll be asked, how did you do it? But you'll know it wasn't you. It was your surrender. It was your silent yes to God in the midnight hour. Your future has not been delayed. It has been protected. Everything you thought was rejection was redirection. What you thought was loss was preservation. What looked like silence was strategy. Because you were not meant to survive the storm. You were meant to stop it. Archangel Michael says, you were the reason the winds bowed, the clouds held back, and the lightning paused mid-strike. Type Amen to get blessing 741. Now you stand at the gate of something different. It's unfamiliar, but it's yours. And the only key needed is your continued belief. The enemy cannot follow you here. Their permission expired at the storm's edge. And now, only glory walks beside you. You were never meant to drown. You were meant to part the waters. The proof is in the stillness around you now. There's power in your footsteps. And heaven walks with you. Type Amen to get blessing 766. The storm was the test. The silence was the lesson. And now, the light is the reward. Welcome to the part of your story where peace begins to speak louder than chaos. Where blessings overtake you faster than fear ever did. Where prayers come alive, not just as echoes, but as events. People will say, you're glowing. That's because you were kissed by divine fire. You carry the shine of someone who knows their worth. You're no longer available for things that shrink you. Your spirit has outgrown small spaces. Type Amen to get blessing 788. This isn't the end of your storm stories. But it is the first one where heaven paused because of you. The earth felt your pain. The sky heard your cry. And the heavens responded, not with war, but with mercy. You are the living proof that quiet faith is still stronger than loud chaos. That hidden battles still deserve loud victories. So go forward. Not with fear, but with fire. Because the next chapter begins with this truth, you silenced the storm. Type Amen to get blessing 800. The moment you silenced the storm, something else awakened, a destiny buried beneath years of delay. The heavens paused not just to protect you, but to reveal what has always been inside you. You were not only preserved, you were anointed in that pause. Your aura has changed. The same eyes that once overlooked you are now searching for you in the crowd. But your spirit has shifted, and you're no longer reachable by the same hands that once doubted your strength. You are now moving in divine rhythm. What once took years will now happen in moments. What once felt impossible will now become effortless. Type Amen to get blessing 825. Your energy is sacred now. You cannot allow confusion to return where clarity has finally made its home. The people who hurt you didn't break you, they revealed your unbreakable core. The heavens did not pause just once, they now rotate around your path. You carry an alignment that bends energy in your favor. People will say you're lucky, but this is not luck. This is the harvest of unseen obedience. This is what happens when faith outlasts fear. This is what it looks like when the Spirit wins. Type Amen to get blessing 843. The place you're being led into now carries your name on every wall. It was being prepared while you were crying. It was being furnished while you were fasting. It was being painted with the very tears you thought were wasted. The time of crawling is over. The days of begging are gone. Now you walk into rooms as the answer, not the question. There is no more need to explain yourself. The evidence of your transformation will speak for you. What once felt like punishment was preparation. And now the prepared are watching you enter what they thought was meant for them. Type Amen to get blessing 860. Your voice has been heard in places your feet haven't even touched yet. You will soon receive a message, a call, a sign, something unusual but divine. Don't doubt it. Accept it. That opportunity is the result of divine redirection. That unexpected blessing is what was waiting after the storm turned back. The world you're entering will look unfamiliar because it was never built by man. You will be celebrated in places that didn't even know your name before. Not because you begged for recognition, but because heaven refused to hide you anymore. You're not being exposed. You're being revealed. Type Amen to get blessing 888. And in this revealing, your enemies will become witnesses. Not of your downfall, but of your survival. They will watch silently as you rise in full view of the grace they tried to mock. You won't gloat. You'll glow. You won't scream. You'll shine. You won't fight. You'll flourish. You are a walking reminder that storms don't always come to destroy, but sometimes to elevate. You were not born to be average. You were born to be a message. Type Amen to get blessing 900. So now you step forward, without guilt, without apology. The blessings arriving were always yours. They were just delayed until your inner light could match their weight. The version of you now walking is too wise to shrink again. Too sacred to settle. Too powerful to pretend. You have cried your last lonely tear. The next tears will be from overwhelming joy. Because everything that once felt stolen will now be restored, pressed down and overflowing. This is not your season. This is your divine unveiling. Type Amen to get blessing 926. As the days pass, your alignment will intensify. You'll begin to feel the signs in your body, energy shifts, sudden clarity, even dreams that feel like previews of what's coming. Take them seriously. You are being shown what's already yours. The person you are becoming would shock the one you used to be. The strength, the calm, the power, it's not coming. It has arrived. Archangel Michael says, there is no going back. You are on a one-way path into full divine radiance. Those storms didn't pass by mistake, they passed because you commanded them in silence. Type Amen to get blessing 944. Soon, others will come to you for answers. Not because you're loud, but because you carry peace. Not because you're perfect, but because you're aligned. You survived something most wouldn't even talk about. And you did it with grace. That's why your hands are now magnets for miracles. That's why people feel safe around you without knowing why. You've become a sanctuary in human form. You radiate truth. And in a world starving for realness, you're going to become someone's answered prayer. Type Amen to get blessing 962. This is the ripple effect of spiritual endurance. Every time you chose to forgive, you created space for expansion. Every time you walked away instead of retaliating, you drew favor closer. Now favor follows you. Not just for a moment, but for a lifetime. You're about to live in the overflow of everything you survived. That's why the heavens paused. That's why time stopped for you. You're no longer just a survivor. You're a vessel of divine proof. You don't just carry light. You are light. Type Amen to get blessing 983. So move differently now. With authority. With peace. With quiet power that needs no validation. You've earned this version of your life. You've walked through fire barefoot just to bloom in silence. And now, no storm can touch you. Because when the heavens paused, they didn't just protect you, they crowned you. And that crown is forever. Type Amen to get blessing 1000. Now that the crown rests on your spirit, you must move with clarity. Not all who clap are for you. And not all who remain silent are enemies. You've been given new eyes. Not just to see people, but to see energy. What you once tolerated will now repel you. What once excited you will now bore you. This is not pride, it's elevation. You're no longer in survival mode. You're walking in dominion. Type Amen to get blessing 1027. The path ahead won't be loud, it will be sacred. It won't be crowded, it will be divine. Because what's meant for you doesn't need competition. People will wonder how you keep rising when they keep plodding. But it's not your strength keeping you afloat. It's the invisible hands of protection wrapped around you since birth. The storm didn't just pause. It saluted you. Because your heart remained pure even when your world shook. Heaven does not ignore that kind of spirit. It promotes it. Type Amen to get blessing 1055. There's a place being prepared that you didn't even know existed. It's a level of peace that money can't buy and noise can't touch. You're about to enter it. This is the reward for all the nights you spoke life when you felt lifeless. This is the return on the faith you invested when nothing made sense. The divine is never in debt, it always repays with overflow. You were not forgotten. You were being formed. And now, the formed version of you is unstoppable. Archangel Michael says, Heaven paused not because of what you said, but because of who you are. Type Amen to get blessing 1081. You are divine evidence that grace can wear a human body. That storms can be hushed. That miracles walk, not float. You'll begin to notice little signs, strangers being kind for no reason, closed doors creaking open, people remembering your name unexpectedly. These aren't random. These are echoes of the storm that paused, and never returned. These are whispers of the divine reminding you, you are covered. You are chosen. You are rising. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can reverse what's already been written in your favor. Type Amen to get blessing 1102. Let this be your final tear over what left you. Let this be your last apology.